the traditional area and the diaspora, and chairman of Ghana Union. Tonight, we are here to discuss a topic that's equally very, very important. As a diasporans, we are here to find out direct investment into Ghana. How do we boost it? What is our role as diasporans? What can we do to help drive investment to our homeland, to our areas where we come from, to our local communities? And of course, even for our own selves, how do we become part of the fortunes of investment opportunities that are available to us as Ghanaians? Tonight, we have an expert, somebody who has led investment to Ghana and heading the investment section of the Ghana Investment Promotion Council, in no other person than the chief executive himself, the very Honorable Yofi Grant, here with us. There is no any other expert who can tell us what we need to know. As diasporans, we have a duty towards our homeland, and therefore this topic is very important and key to us. I believe we all have all our share tonight by the time we leave us. Before we do, let me say that this program is put together by Ghana Union with the support of Ghana Nurses Association UK, the Western Region Association of Nurses UK, and the Ghanaian Nightingale Nurses Association UK. It is endorsed and supported by the Ghana High Commission, televised to you live on Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, and of course on Omega Live. We are here to learn, educate, and inform to help you make better choices in your investment decisions. Honorable Yofi Grant, the CEO of GIPC, please, you are welcome. It's nice to see you. Anytime I see you,
Thank you.
I
Thank you
admire
very much.
this white beard that you trim it so nicely.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes, yes. So please, we will not take too much of the time. We want you to have as much time to go ahead with your presentation, so we can have more time for Q&A. Please take over.
Thank you very much. And it's my pleasure to once again be on this platform to speak mainly about the opportunities for the diaspora in Ghana. And I am sure those who have been following GIPC and on our various social media platforms, you've seen how we've showcased investments and businesses that have been supported and set up or invested in by Ghanaians in the diaspora, but not just Ghanaians in the diaspora, but the African-American diaspora as well. I guess we've reached a point in our quest to become a very satisfying opportunity as a nation and a real opportunity to grow and become I don't know whether the word what they now they categorize countries a first world country will apply to us, because I say we are neither the first world nor are we the third world. We are the new world, and it's a new world of significant opportunity that we can leverage for our development. It is said that there are about 3 million Ghanaians outside in the diaspora. And that certainly is a very significant number. Now, there are various levels of social standing and order, but a significant number of them are well-meaning, well-earning people who would, I believe, if they had the real opportunity, would like to amplify exponentially the revenues they have and create a better life for themselves, for their families, and for the country. And today, Ghana is in a very interesting place, because despite all the crises that we've gone through post-pandemic and in the currency of the Russian-Ukraine conflict, the country still seems very attractive, and very attractive to anybody who is looking, at investing back home. Our records tell us that last year, inward remittances hit about 8 billion or something of the sort, which is a significant number. It's more than we borrow each year from the bilateral and multilateral lenders. It's probably much more than we get from foreign direct investment. Not probably, it's definitely much more than we get each year from foreign direct investment. But unfortunately, it doesn't go right into amplifying its impact in the economy. And we think that it's about time that we do that now. So I guess the ethos of this whole evening's conversation is without doubt that there is quite a lot of benefit that Ghana as a developing country can eke out of its diaspora. And if you look at countries that have been able to do it, for example, China, it's estimated that when China decided to go full commercial and industrialize, a significant proportion, over 30 billion of the resources that was invested back into the economy came from the Chinese diaspora. We see quite a significant number in the Israeli diaspora, and Israel was one of those very good examples of a diaspora born that was extremely successful. We've seen quite a lot, and we hear that Africa this year attracted approximately some $82 billion from its diaspora in remittances. So definitely there is the capital out there. Definitely there is opportunity back home. And definitely there is reason to believe that the diaspora can be a significant source of investment capital for our economy to grow. So having said that, let's talk about Ghana. I mean, I describe the Ghana situation with very often by just quoting the meaning of 3 O's. So the Ghana story is best told by the 3 O's, and I keep emphasizing that. The first one is opportunity. The second one is openness. And the third one is optimism. And very often, I mean, I have to explain what that means. The first O of opportunity means we are very opportunity rich. I mean, apart from our mineral resources, which include oil and gas, bauxite, manganese, diamonds, gold, iron ore, more recently lithium, and many other ornamental minerals and industrial minerals like feldspar, sulfates, and name it. You know, we also have 60% of our land mass being possible arable lands that we can use to improve food production and use leverage for food security. So, and we have a very young, vibrant population. We're currently 32 million, about 60% less than the age of 35. So that in itself are ingredients that definitely will give you the foundations for development and for improving the economy. What we struggle to have is capital. And very often I've been asked, why is it that we don't have the capital? Of course, I mean, throughout our own history since independence, we've all gone through our own ideological experimentation in governance. And very often it hasn't gone the private sector way. It's only recently that Ghana has embraced the private sector as a very credible and important partner in the development of the economy. Capital formation has not been accelerated, and therefore the ability to create real capital has been also stymied by lack of a savings culture. I mean, if you look at savings to GDP in Ghana, I dare say it's less than 25%. In fact, much less than that. And some say it's somewhere around 15, 16%. You know, but if you don't have a savings culture, it makes it very difficult for you to create capital formation for you to invest. But we do have the diaspora. Now, with the opportunities that I've said to you, very often people say, well, but these are big ticket things. If we have the resources, they are for the big investor who wants to invest 200 million, 500 million, etc., etc. That's quite true. But we also are known to be very high on the global retail consumption index. That means Ghana's consumption rate is very high. And therefore, our consumption for products, both external and internally, is something that creates a very important market for the investor. But beyond that is the fact that we do have one of the most attractive investment regimes in the sub-region. And for quite a number of years recently, Ghana has always been adjudged as the most attractive place to do business. If we leverage the opportunities that we have today, and the diaspora plays a role in it, I believe that one day we shall sing the song of the diaspora being very important to the elevation of the Ghanaian economy. And I've said this many times, that If we don't do it, others will do it. Others will see the opportunity and come in and do it. And it's not just okay to say that, well, no, we should reserve certain parts of our economy for Ghanaians and Ghanaians, the diaspora. Yes, maybe we should. But if it's not being developed, and because of that, the economy is not moving as it should, then we have to question ourselves, what are we doing really? And so having the opportunity is very important. And we see that growing in many areas. And when you look at the policy framework of government, is to open access to critical areas that we consider priorities. For example, infrastructure, energy, agro-production, and agro-processing, and just not that, but adding value to our agricultural products. And then, of course, we are thinking of technology as a main route for government interaction with the citizenry, and to eliminate agency cost and to bring about efficiencies. Then, of course, we are looking at soft infrastructure like hospitals, education, and all these are elements that enable the economy to grow. Excuse me. So when we talk about opportunity, we are talking about all these little things that are there. And then openness. Openness in the sense that we engage as a country. We actually go out there and seek to let people understand who we are and where we come from. And luckily, excuse me, as I always say, we are privileged that God put us in the center of the world. And so Ghana, strictly speaking, is the center of the world. We are the only country on latitude 0 and longitude 0. So in terms of logistics and in terms of access to other markets, we have a significant and tremendous opportunity. I mean, almost every important market in the world is only about 8 hours away from Accra. And even in the US, if we were to fly directly to places like Florida, Miami, Atlanta, it will be about 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours journey. So, and if we are to fly straight to Latin America, it could be anything from 4 to 6 hours, depending on which part of Latin America we're talking about. To Europe, we all know 6.5, 5 hours, we are in Europe. And then, of course, we are also very well advantaged in the African region. And that openness means that we are interacting, we embrace partnerships for linkages and trade. And that is what government's policy orientation is today. But I still believe that the diaspora is it's an extremely important component of that whole conversation. And then if we leverage the diaspora and economic power, we will have an accelerated economic growth. Now, the last one is optimism. And I'm sure those of you on social media sometimes cringe when you hear the things that are happening home. And we hear these things not because we think we have the worst country in the world, but we think we should be better than that. We can be better than that. And everybody strives for perfection. Everybody works very hard. On a lighter note, I recently said that if you come to Ghana, showing how aggressive we are about our success, our quest for success, we have a soccer regime where we have 22 soccer players and 32 million coaches, because everybody believes that they have the solution to make the Black Stars win the game. But it's not because they really know that they have it, but because of their desire. And that desire extends or extrapolates into many spheres of our life. And even as we speak about what is not in Ghana, it's not because we are just criticizing and downplaying our country. It's because we want whatever that is good to be in Ghana. And we are extremely optimistic that we should be able to achieve it. To give you a little, just a microcosmic example. In the 3 years preceding the COVID pandemic, through new policy orientations and a new direction in which we thought we should push the economy, Ghana's economy grew at an average of 7% per annum. And it was one of the highest in the world. Even in the times of COVID, when almost every economy was in recession, Ghana did not go into recession. Ghana was one of the very few economies that had positive economic growth. Never mind that it was only 0.72%. But it showed that we have a certain resilience that even in the face of almost all adversity, we still strive to achieve and get the best for our country. And post-pandemic, the first year after the explosion of the pandemic, when everybody thought that the economies were going to really flounder and go south, Ghana's economy had a bit of a surge to our growth to our 5.2%. And subsequently, it's come down in the face of and in the light of problems that we've had from the external factors of global trade and global finance. So those are the three O's. We have the opportunities, we are open, we engage, we embrace, and we take advantage of our situation and opportunity. And then, of course, we are optimistic that we shall achieve where we aspire to be, so far as we work together and work in one direction to achieve that. But I have to then go back to the diaspora, because if every year we are to get inward remittances of an average of 3.8%, $3.8 billion annually, that is a major resource that can be channeled into economic growth and development. It's a powerful impetus as well to engage the technologies, the new ways of doing things, the cultural learnings, and the power of the pocket of the diaspora. We can leverage that just like how the Chinese did, the Israelis did, the Philippines did, and many other countries have. And so the diaspora is a very powerful tool for development. And Ghana's policy orientation is such that we are open and we are looking for investors. And if we have a source of capital which is legitimate and belongs to those who are from the continent and from our own country, then I think it's important that we come out there to have a negotiation and have discussions about how we can leverage that capital power to develop our country. But then, before I get off and open up for questions, there is one very important aspect, one very important, should I say, marble in the whole conversation, which has emerged today. And that is the African Continental Free Trade Area. And that describes the African market and opportunity which confronts us all today. The AFCFTA is currently the largest tariff-free single market in the world, post-WTO. It's a population of 1.4 billion, with a combined GDP of 3.4 trillion, but with huge, immense possibilities going forward. And simply put, the AFCFTA puts us all in a market which is tariff-free, where we can trade our goods and services amongst ourselves in Africa. And so if you produce in Ghana and you want to export to East Africa, South Africa, North Africa, or even West Africa, it is tariff-free and definitely gives you a higher chance of improving your returns than if you were to export to other markets where tariffs are required. Now, today, the African market is 1.4 billion people. By 2030, it would have increased to 1.7 billion people. But by 2050, it would have increased to 2.6 billion people. And that would be 1/4 of the world's population. By the year 2100, it will have increased further, and we will be 1/3 of the world's population. What that tells you is that right under our noses, we have a potentially strong market which we can leverage to improve our economies. And as we move from a country that was predicated to exporting all its raw materials and resources into one of value added, we can create an industrial Africa from our raw materials and from the energy and enterprise of our young people and the capital of our diaspora, and sell into the African market. Today, intra-Africa trade is just above about 17%. Intra-Africa investment is around 5%. But yet, we know that there's a lot of capital flight as well. But beyond that, stronger than that, is the power of the diaspora to leverage these markets, leverage the opportunities, and create real economies back in the continent. Many countries have done it. That's why they are where they are. We should do it because that is an opportunity that confronts us today. And so I would urge you to pay a bit of attention back home and to the continent. The continent has significant opportunity. Today, when you come to Ghana, you find people from the diaspora in technology doing amazing things in textiles and fashion, in music, in industry, in construction. And their companies are growing at an accelerated pace because they've taken the step, a bold step, of coming back home and investing, understanding the market, understanding the requirements of the market, and moving ahead. And I can tell you sincerely, yes, we may not be heaven, but we are not hell either. And things can happen here. Things are happening here. And so I would tell you to bold yourself, as they say, get your loins and get ready and come back home and do things. I, as CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, I go around trying to sell the Ghanaian story. And I tell you, very often I'm overwhelmed by the level of interest and the level of excitement that people hear all over, from the United States of America, from Europe, from Asia, from Latin America and South America, and even from Africa. But I would not have done my work well if I go out selling the opportunities or exposing the brand Ghana to others and not talking to the Ghanaian in the diaspora or the African in the diaspora. And so I am very delighted this evening to be here to speak about this. And I hope that my simple words to you today would trigger your excitement and at least take the bold step to come back home and see what opportunities lie here for you. So thank you very much for listening. And I am right here for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Grant. Thank you so much for the, precise information that you've given us. Ghana has a lot to offer its citizens, home and abroad, and I'm sure we've all taken a lot out of this. I am going to ask that we have Romeo Buje from IT Consortium. If he has any information that he can also add, because I know Romeo and IT Consortium are doing quite an incredible job. They have a lot of investment opportunities around as well. I have had the opportunity to obviously experience some of the work they do around Chango. Those of us who want to build organizations, want to do investment in Ghana, driving our communities to do things within the Ghanaian economy. If Romeo is here, it's nice to see you, Romeo. If you can add a word or two to what our big man Yoifi has said around investment opportunities, so that we can go back for a quick session of break and come back for Q&A.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you, Yofi. It's great to see you. Yes, and even as you spoke concerning the opportunities, one of the things that came to my mind is, as a community, there are small ways that we can also help build wealth for ourselves and also for the country. One of the things that we collaborate with some pension companies is an informal pension that we currently run with some of the banks and the insurance companies to allow people to be able to build pensions without necessarily brick and mortar, and which opens up also for opportunity for some of our friends outside in the diaspora to be able to join some of these schemes and be able to build pension funds in Ghana, so that when they come home, it is not just the pension that they have there, or for some of our compatriots who might not maybe documented and want to be able to save things here. We are linking international money transfer to such product that we run, and that allows you to be able to do this. And so those are some of the things that are available for individuals who wish to manage things here. And one of the products that we also have, which we've introduced to the diaspora community, is the Chango app, which allows you to be able to manage your investment or manage your expenditure in Ghana. So for instance, those who are maybe building on your own resources, where you send the money to someone to be able to do that. With the use of Chango, you can actually link to the suppliers and be able to manage in a group with maybe someone in Ghana. But because the app gives you the right to be able to vote or approve before money moves from the platform to the destination, once you have the money on the platform, you'll be able to do that. So you are buying cement, or you are buying iron rods, or what have you, or taking care of your old folks here in Ghana. You'll be able to manage it as you connect to the pharmacy, the hospital, pay your school fees of your wards, and all these things can be managed on the app, without direct P2P to someone, which then leaves you in a situation where you are not sure whether the money has actually gone to the destination that you want. So Chango is one product that you can take advantage of in managing your funds here. But from investment perspective, there are products here we run in collaboration with some banks, investment savings product, insurance, and also pension. And maybe when you come home, then you have some money here that you can actually use also to manage yourself. So these are just a few words that I will throw in for that in support of what Yofi just said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Romeo. Thank you. I would definitely say Chango is an app that I use. I have set up a foundation called a Hunter Development Foundation. We are on Chango, and some of the things that we are doing is to help drive people together so that we can also do some good to our local community, specifically for me in Ahanta and the Western region. So the app is quite good. It's extremely good. I have it on my phone. I was just looking at it. I can see the donations. I can see what it could be done, it could be used for, and everyone that is participating is doing a good job. So at this point, we'll take a minute break. When we come back, Yofi will be back. I believe with a little bit of support from Romeo, and we can go straight to Q&A.
I was actually going to suggest to you that maybe just for the break time, for those who stay.
I think Yofi's line is a bit. I'm sure we'll get him back when we return.
Araba, there are some people at the door. Go and tell them I have traveled to Russia.
Yes, Daddy.
Where's your father?
My father said I should tell you he has traveled to Russia.
Your father has killed me. I sent him money from America to complete my house for me.
Are all student association contributions?
Even the money from the fundraiser for Kweku's surgery.
Oh! He too? Don't be a victim. If you're contributing to a project, alumni dues, or any public campaign, Chango is your best choice. Chango keeps track of all donations and gives you the power to know exactly where the money goes. Chango is approved by Bank of Ghana. Call 0270-066-614 or visit changoapp.com for more information.
Uncle, my father is hiding under the bed.
Oh, Araba.
Chango for your groupings and crowdfunding.
At Diaspora Insurance, we understand the importance of dignified send-offs within Ghanaian culture and traditions. We also understand that you want to avoid the double trauma of your family grieving and not having the financial support to cover funeral expenses when you're not around. With our Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, you can now cover yourself or your family in Ghana or abroad. With no medicals required, we'll accept you if you are under 75 years. Visit our website today or call us to complete a simple form in under 5 minutes. With Diaspora Insurance, your peace of mind is guaranteed.
Hello? Oh, my son is Canada dada. And then he left home menu. My son, this is a setup that was Spain. Oh, yes. Spain most any secret free ha ekwo Ghana yet we love you it's 11 and as me fama over baby family no oh that be my son we just check your phone why it's very easy now to send money from anywhere in Europe to Ghana. I'm in Spain right now and I just send money to my mom and on Tiasia also, don't send it, don't take e-levy. No, on tap send, there's no e-levy charge. It's just free when you send. Those in the US, those in London, those in Canada, plenty places in Europe. You can send your money through tap send to Ghana. And please, it's free of charge. There's no deduction in any e-levy or any charge at all. So what are you waiting for? Send the money to those family people. Me must send it. Let's go and take a clan talk. Reggae man of a pack. It's tap send.
Need I say more? Tap Send, your #1 money transfer company to Ghana. Sending all your remittances through them is quick, efficient, and reliable. Use their service so they can help us bring this program to you live wherever you are, in your homes, in your work office places, and all that. We come to you. We're also grateful to IT Consortium and Chango for supporting this program. They've been with us for so long, helping us to broadcast this to you. IT Consortium, we are grateful. And of course, Diaspora Insurance, supporting us again to make this program interesting every 2 weeks, as we've done over the past 2 years and still going. If we can have our panelist back, I don't know if he's able to log on. Yeah, Mr. Grant, I know you wanted to say something before the break, but
yes, I was going to say we have quite a number of experiential videos from people in the diaspora.
Right.
So I thought I was going to just screen one in the housing estates side.
If you are able to do it, we can go ahead with that. We're still good with time.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay. Let me just share my screen then, and then we can have the video show.
Yes.
Whoops, sorry. Let me share my screen first. Oops. Maybe I need IT Consortium here because it's not giving me the chance to share my screen. It says only one participant can share the screen. So,
but there's no.
Maybe they make you a co-host.
He's a co-host. Paul, can you advise Paul?
Yes, you should try now. It should work.
Well, but Paul, I think you have quite a number of those videos. So maybe we should show one or two of them just to show some of the things that the diaspora is doing, which are very important for us.
Okay, keep going. I'll get one out. Okay.
Okay. So we are at the Q&A session. We will be looking to share with you some videos so you can see what is happening on the ground. In the meantime, please raise your hands using the Zoom icon. One question at a time, please, non-political. We are here to think about boosting investment in Ghana. No party lines. It's about Ghana first. So raise your questions, and our honorable panelist, Yofi Grant, the CEO of GIPC, is here to answer all. So far, I haven't seen any hand up, but I have a few remarks in the chat room. Right, okay, we'll look at the video. Hopefully those who want to raise questions will raise your hand by the time we come back.
Imensa Park is a collaboration between two companies, a US-based firm and our firm Mercury Estates. We partnered to deliver 200 townhouses, and you can see the units behind me. It's pretty unique for this part of the world to build a community-scale townhouse development. This type of collaboration allows us to put in common areas like a park in the middle of the development. We're looking at community-scale water delivery, which is unique in Ghana. There's security features as well. So you've got a gated community with manned 24-hour security. And there's a quality standard that we've been able to achieve with Imensa that's been world-class. We've got 200 units or townhouses, mostly. So you've got 2-bedroom units, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. And we also have a few flats as well, 1-bedroom with studies. And it's a mix. We've got folks that have come back from the diaspora that have bought units here. Some are buying to let. We've got investors who are renting in the development. And then we've got a young professional, young family contingent who are really enjoying the amenities, the swimming pool, the basketball courts, the clubhouse. For me, I kind of sit between the historical diaspora and the continental diaspora, having been born abroad. But when I first stepped foot in Ghana, I was blown away with the potential and also the opportunity. As someone who's lived as a Black American, as a minority in a different country, the idea of being able to participate in the Ghanaian story, where it's not just a question of representation, but actual transformation. That there's an opportunity here as a business person to do something that's extraordinarily meaningful. This is a $30 million development. You can imagine the amount of employment that was created. By increasing the level of the standard, we're also upskilling the workforce. You know, that there are guys that are coming home to their families very proud to have been part of a development like this. And it's changed their attitude toward work. It's changed the standard in the country. And I think also it's the kind of thing that attracts a certain caliber of people to the country who can also make an impact and a difference. I'm actually really excited about affordable housing as well. So I think it's not just about catering to the upper middle class. It's also, I mean, the entire value chain in the housing industry in Ghana requires investment and talent, both locally and abroad. We have been back here full time for 17 years. We started this development about 6 years ago, and we've just wrapped up the construction sales towards the beginning of this year as well. So it's been quite a journey. Our focus has been on land. Land can be a tricky issue in Ghana in terms of acquiring land and making sure you've got clean title. But once you're able to do that, it becomes very attractive to different types of investors, people who just are not looking for the headache that's often associated with land tenure, that if they feel they can come to you and they trust that you're able to deliver what you say you can. So from kind of at the macro level, I think we've been able to set a new standard for real estate in the country. And that has a knock-on effect across the industry, that oftentimes the kind of quality that we're able to deliver for a $150,000 price point, people typically in Accra, we're seeing this quality standard at a $500,000 price point. So it's really gratifying to be able to deliver a quality product at a better price, and also increasing the densities. You know, in terms of impact, from a land use perspective, there's not an infinite amount of land in Ghana. So if you can get people to find properties that are more appealing, but are more efficient with the land use, that's a win for the environment. That's a win for society, because you actually are inspiring a different type of community interaction. That it's not just folks with big houses behind gates, but you've got folks that are living a little bit closer together and really developing a sense of community. I think there's something unique that the diaspora can bring to the table, particularly in Ghanaian diasporans coming back and reaching out to the larger historical diaspora. That there's a huge amount of interest in Ghana, particularly on the back of the Year of the Return story. I would say the most compelling reason to invest in Ghana is the quality of the people. There's an extraordinary spirit in Ghana. There are extraordinarily capable folks, and there's a culture that embraces entrepreneurship. Ghana is the kind of place that rewards and long-term investment. So as someone who's benefited from collaboration here in Ghana, I urge the entire diaspora community, both the historical diaspora and the continental diaspora, to grow in Ghana and grow with Ghana.
So that is an example of a diasporan who has come to Ghana and done some amazing stuff. And I think it's a pretty good example, because as we all know, property development is one of those areas that sometimes confronts us with challenges, but they've been able to do so well and so beautifully. I think it's an inspiration and a great story for us to leverage in our discussions today.
Excellent. That's excellent. I mean, this video speaks for itself. The potential in Ghana is great. I'm made to believe that you've done quite an incredible job, and therefore I haven't seen any hands up. But I do encourage audience today to please raise your hand so that we can call you and ask your question. I'm going to go to the chat room to see. But in the meantime, I also have a few questions here that I want to go through with you.
Please. I'm obliged.
Right. With Ghana being downgraded multiple times in recent months, what impact will this have on FDIs? I mean,
it's a very interesting.
Oh, see,
it's a pretty interesting question. They have They are usually portfolio investors. They are then private equity investors. They are, well, categorically, they are quite a number, not more than two. But there's a foreign direct investments who directly invest into the economy. And then there are those who are lenders to the economy. And usually the two look at things in a separate way, but impact each other. And very often for equity investors, people who are looking for projects and looking at a real, opportunities for growth and returns, their main concerns will be whether the market is growing, whether there's opportunity, whether they can bring in their capital, whether there's freedom to use that capital, and whether there are laws guaranteeing against expropriation and, and all that. For those in the bond markets and those who are lenders, they look at the macroeconomic indicators, whether the currency is stable, because that would probably affect their lending. If the currency is volatile and, and all that, that means that if you have to generate a lot more cedis to pay them back, they become a bit more concerned. They're also concerned when inflation goes high because it means purchasing power is compromised. They're also concerned when interest rates fly out of the window or are excessive, because then they think that people in the country can't borrow to make use of whatever government provides. But apart from that itself, when that happens and you've borrowed and you are not generating enough revenue to pay your debt as a country, then of course you are downgraded. But it's a view. Being downgraded is not absolute. It's a view that an analyst sitting somewhere has of your economy. And it doesn't necessarily accurately or give you a clear indication of what you are, because it's based on a forward view. And so things could change pretty quickly if you're able to deal with some of those issues that it presents to you. Right. If your revenues, you're able to generate revenues from taxes, you have a different tax policy, etc., etc. Now, what we've done in the interim, knowing that our ability to raise revenues and our revenue sources shrunk, particularly on the back of expenditure during the COVID period when nobody expected a pandemic. And then secondly, and that was not the only reason. The other reason being that there was a lot of trade and investment disruption with the pandemic. When there were, countries close their borders, quarantine, businesses had to close down because they couldn't go to work. And so they couldn't pay their taxes. So government revenue was severely strained. But yet government had to spend for various reasons. You had to procure vaccines. You had to ensure that you had other medications to help you stymie the impact of the pandemic. And then, of course, you also had to spend on ensuring that you're now preparing to take care of those who are ill and sick and all that. In the face of constantly declining revenues. So government was not able to rack up the revenues, and then its ability to repay loans was compromised. And then, of course, came the Russian-Ukrainian war, which brought a double whammy from the pandemic. And I dare say that since the year 2020, many countries, not just Ghana, many countries are laboring to get back to scratch where they were pre-pandemic. And we know what happened, especially in the UK. We saw how shops suddenly had goods disappear because the borders were closed and the flow of business couldn't go on because of the war. And we've seen that in many countries. I mean, I was shocked when I saw petrol queues in France. But at least for one thing, Ghana has somehow been able to keep its social activities going. We didn't have power cuts. We still had petrol to run our cars. So there's something good, at least we must have done. There's some management that we've done that has kept us going. But then when you are downgraded, then lenders, like I said before, get worried that, well, your ability to repay is compromised going forward. And so if they look at your economy and they think that because of XYZ, you will not be able to make the revenues that we thought you should make when we lent you the money, would increase your risk and downgrade you, so that anybody else who's coming to the market would, adjust his risk premium on you. And if you are going to come into the market, it means they'll lend to you at even more expensive rates. And if those expensive rates make it difficult for you to repay, then of course they keep you out of the bond market, because they know that even if somebody lends you the money at the rates at which they quote, at the risk premiums they require, and at the rate at which your economy is going, you might not be able to repay the debt. And for many countries, they have a ceiling of debt to GDP, which they consider, giving you the red light that you need to be careful because you are overborrowing or you're overheated. But that in itself is not an absolute. It's systemic, but also situational. And so depending on how you manage after that, and in some countries they'll tell you, well, yes, tighten your belt, stop spending, because then that spending must have revenues to support it, so that you don't spend, and then you have more money to pay your debts. You can't borrow anymore because you can't pay, your payment ability is compromised. And many others have different views of how to manage a situation like that. But I dare say we have many countries that have gone through the same process in many times of the year. I mean, look, the US quite recently hit its debt ceiling. But you see, they don't have a problem because the dollar is their currency. It's not like us who borrow in dollars, but our currency is the cedi. So if the US overborrows and they need to pay, they'll just probably print more dollars and pay. We can't do that, because even if we print more cedis, then our market even gets more difficult, because we bring about inflation, and the ability for people to buy and sell is again compromised. So we have to work extra hard to gain the dollars to pay back our debts. And that is how it affects us. When you get to that moment, then it's a take and go. But some very adventurous and probably more risk-tolerant investors, foreign direct investors, look for opportunities, especially in such cases, because that's when they think that they have a great opportunity to be in the market. And when you can't borrow, you can't raise the revenue, what else do you have to do? Look to see if you can find investment capital coming to your market. And that is why the conversation with the diaspora is important, because this is a time when you can look and say, aha, maybe this is where I can go shopping in Ghana and find a project to do, because I might get the support. And yes, you will get the support, and it will be a different thing. But somebody lending money to us would say, I want to see certain things happen first. Now, what we have done is that we've sought the assistance of the IMF. And I keep saying, going to the IMF is not a sin. It's not necessarily a bad thing. The UK has been to the IMF, I think, quite a number of times. We are not the only people to have gone to the IMF. Our neighbors, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, many of them have had to go to the IMF several times. And what the IMF does for you, and bear in mind, we go to the IMF because we all contribute to the IMF. The IMF is like the lender of last resort. So when you get stuck somewhere, you can go back to the bank and say, okay, well, I need support. I need something to cushion me for a little bit while I get back to, to making sure that I have policy credibility and integrity in my economy, and that, I can then go back and I'll borrow at the very good rates that I was borrowing before, because international capital markets is out there to lend you money anyway. But they lend you according to your risk rating. And when they think that your risk is so high, then it makes it difficult for people to lend to you. But having said that, there will always be opportunity in the market. And it's amazing. Despite all these situations, I have had to double my steps, because this is a time where you can actually go for the strategic investors who are looking at your economy and saying that, well, yeah, for example, Ghana has found lithium in copious commercial quantities. This is the time to go in there. Let me talk to government to help me so that I can mine the mineral lithium and maybe go into production in Ghana. The AFCFTA also creates a fantastic and amazing market. What can I do in Ghana that I can export? On the lighter note, quite recently, I was in Atlanta, and I met an African American who had been to Ghana and had just left the week before. And he was telling me, gosh, he tasted shito. Shito, you know shito?
Yes.
Our shito that we do, the pepper, for the first time. and he's already managed to get customers in East Africa. The East Africans don't usually spice their food with pepper and stuff, but he's found markets in there, especially for those who are in the the meat business. They found that meat and pepper go very well. So he's already looking for suppliers from Ghana to export to Southern and East Africa. Brilliant opportunity. I thought about it, said, I should have got this light bulb many years ago. We do chocolates. There's demand for chocolate on the continent. I have seen, I even have a video of a diaspora who is now doing bespoke, customized chocolates for specific markets and on specific demands. Amazing. We've seen people in the fashion industry who are looking at the vibrance of our Ghanaian fabrics and making clothes to sell in South Africa, to sell in East Africa, to sell in Central Africa. So the opportunities are there and we should take them. And notwithstanding that we've been downrated, those opportunities are still going to be there. The minerals are still in the ground. Somebody's going to come and say, I need to get these minerals. And you know why it's important when I talk about minerals? Because all the minerals you require for energy transitions today, because of climate change and global emissions affecting the environment, all those minerals, you have them in Ghana. You have manganese, you have bauxite, you have lithium. All these are very important, right. So the opportunity does exist. And notwithstanding that we've had these down ratings, there are people who are still looking to say, well, I think that the Ghana market is easier to invest in than maybe other markets. So let me pay attention to Ghana.
Thank you. Thank you. So from that perspective, an ordinary man with a very low pocket, not any investor capacity in terms of millions and thousands of pounds, wanting to begin something, what incentives does the government actually have for such a person? If I were to come to Ghana with my £1,000, £5,000, £10,000, I want to begin something, what are some of the basic incentives that I can get to be able to break the ground?
Well, first of all, if you're coming to manufacturing and you're bringing equipment, etc., and it's interesting. I always used to think that if you didn't have the capital, you can't invest or you can't do business. But I've more recently found that that's not true. I mean, I went to a trade show and I saw equipment for making things like juice, just extracting juice, dried fruit, etc., in the region of $5,000, $6,000. That, as somebody without a huge amount of capital, but who identifies an opportunity, can come in and start drying mangoes for export or dry pineapples for export. There is a company in Ghana that is Swiss-owned that didn't invest a huge amount of money in the beginning, but they've gone into fruit drying for export. And now they've expanded because they have been able to do that. Apart from that, if you come with a proposition and you have a clear market and a line of sight from investment to profit, trust me, the banks will chase you. You don't have to go to chase money. They will chase you because they know that you're going to make money. You have a ready market that you can't satisfy with the product that you're making. They will satisfy you. You talk about incentives, and I keep saying that the serious investor doesn't only look for incentives. He looks for opportunity for growth because that would trump incentives any day.
For instance, we are looking for, there are some countries when you go and you want to invest as a small business, you are excluded from some taxation, some level of taxes are reduced to give you the opportunity to break the ground before they start extracting all the little money you have. These are the things that as a diasporan coming, we want to see how long if I were to arrive today, I want to go into juice market like a mango with a small scale investment. How long will it take before the taxman starts hunting me down? What are the differences in
Nana, I'll tell you something. And I've learned this all my years as a banker and traveling around doing this job. There are two certainties in life, some say. One is God, the other is taxes. And we all want to run away from taxes. I don't think anybody likes to or would like to pay tax. So I understand that question. But sometimes it's not the tax incentive that will help you. It's the focus and the strategy that will help you. And every big business is taxed anyway. Some strategically had taxes removed. And that's why in Ghana, if you are going to do manufacturing, you can bring your equipment and some raw materials are not available in the market tax-free. That is why if you are considered a young person below the age of 35 when you want to start a business, you have some tax rebates. That is why if you want to do your business outside the urban areas, there are locational, incentives that you can also get. And beyond that, I mean, sectors are looking at different incentives they can give to you to do your business. But I will always say, when I have very serious investors coming in, some of them are not looking for the incentives. They are looking for the opportunity. They are looking for certainty. They are looking for markets. They are looking for the other things that they require to have their industry survive. Like they are looking for human capital. They are looking for certainty in the macro, such that, you don't have currency depreciations, that will affect them. That's uncertain. There's volatility. Those are the things that worry them. But for the opportunity, they will take it.
Thank you. I've just seen a chat room note saying, what are the process of registering a business? How do you go about it? If somebody was to arrive, what are the steps they need to take to be able to establish themselves as a business person? I mean, I don't know if this is
very simple, very simple put. The Registrar Generals and the Registrar of Businesses in Ghana, Register of Companies, is ready to help you set up your company, register your company. I'm told they are now technology savvy, so I'm told that you can actually sit where you are sitting right now, wherever you're in the world, and register your company in Ghana. That's the first step. You need to register your company. But I must also put in a caveat that we have great entrepreneurs, and sometimes not everybody is willing to go through the process of setting up a business and going with it. My experience globally tells the expert you are in, whether it's in Geneva, whether it's in America, whether it's in Ghana or the UK, except that there are institutional structures that are set up to assist and help small businesses grow. In the US, the Office of the Small Business Administrator and other places. There are startups that have incubation institutions help them get there. I mean, Ghana, we've tried setting up the business resource centers across the length and breadth of the country to assist simple people who are doing simple, small businesses, help them with structure. The most important thing is when you're small, how do you corporatize? How do you become formalized? Because you're small. You don't have the capital to pay an accountant, a marketing person, a manager. You don't have it. So those things are important. And my experience, first as a commercial banker, and secondly as an investment banker, is when you don't have those things and you fail, then you say that, no, I didn't have the money to do it. Very often you need those things. You need the focus. You need the discipline. And we all know what happens. Normally, when we've hustled for so long, as soon as you come into some small money, you want to mitigate that hustle a little bit. So maybe for money that you could have sacrificed for more raw materials in your product, say, let me get a car to take me to work every day. I have seen people start businesses with zero and build amazing businesses because of their focus and their dedication and discipline to what they have to do. I have seen people come into the market with capital, set up the business, but didn't return a dime because their focus was not on ensuring that the business grows. They were more interested in the trappings and the revenues of the business than the growth of the business. So, these are all things that we need to consider. But yes, you are right. You expect that there should be institutional support for startups. And we see quite a number of them in the tech space. There are quite a number of startups. Ghana is fast established itself with the reputation of a startup, should I say foundation in Africa and West Africa, in the tech space. We expect more to happen. We have the Ghana Entrepreneurs Agency, which is helping startups and helping small businesses to grow, and so forth, and so much so. These things are there. But if you want to start a business, yes, you've got to register it. Secondly, you must have a business plan. That business plan must end with a proof of concept that your business works. If your business is a clear innovation and it's a novelty, then it's a bit harder for you because you want to show that when you start the business, you have a market waiting for you and a market that can then start giving you revenues. So you don't go into the business blind. And for a lot of people in the diaspora who have come to Ghana and are doing very well, they've done 1, 2, 3 trips. They've done their groundwork, they've done the recce, they've done their own simple little off the desk and off the table research. So where's my market? How do I get to my market? Who are my competitors? What is my unique selling proposition? They do all those things and they just go straight into it. So starting a new business in Ghana is no different from starting a new business anywhere else, except that in other places, they have the institutional frameworks to assist you. Over here, we brave it. But a lot of the businesses who are here, who started with nothing, have grown and are amazing businesses.
So if I may ask, if you have a business, you are setting up a business, you've got some equipment to bring and you have to send it through, obviously, the shipping and all that. That is an area. Yesterday, I was with a businessman. He has huge business in Ghana. He's trying to send a vehicle that will help him. And he's worried about the amount of money that they will take from him at the port. And the car is, in fact, he showed me the car sitting right at the back of his house. And he's worried about how that much money is going to go into clearing. Is there any kind of, arrangement for businesses that can prove that this vehicle, for instance, will be for the purpose of that business? Is there anything that is done around this sort of area? Because most of the time, people keep asking some of us as community leaders, I want to send this and I want to do that, but I can't. I don't know how it works.
You ask a very important question that, over the years has been asked many times. I remember being with the president, and some says, "Oh, I want to bring my car to Ghana, I'll be taxed," and so forth. The simple thing is, if me in Ghana, I want to bring a car for my own business, I'll be taxed. So I don't see why, if you're outside and you're bringing your car to Ghana, you want it tax-free. It can be a cost to your business, not to you personally. And that's the way to move away from you personally paying. You can say that this is my company importing the car. And if it makes sense and the tax person is clear that this car is for the business, I'm sure the accommodations will be made. But I'll tell you quite frankly, over the years, there's been so much indiscipline in that sphere that the tax authorities are not in a compromising mood. Neither is the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance is looking to ratchet up our revenues. So if you say I'm bringing a car and I want it tax-free, they'll say, Masa, wait there, I
don't quite think people want tax-free. I don't quite think people want tax-free. People are looking for how that can be supported so that they can use it as a startup. Because I'm sure you, with your knowledge and experience, you will know that starting a business in an environment like Ghana, of course, it has all the opportunity, but there are a lot of bottlenecks. Your department may not have it, but by the time you actually cross all the department and the sections that will get you running, some people get frustrated and they walk away. And that is, for a lot.
I'll tell you something. If I left Ghana today and I came to the UK and I wanted to start a business, and I know people who've tried that, they face similar frustrations. We shouldn't think that, Ghana should be a glory track and we should come in and there's no issue. The institutional issues are there. The institutional issues of governance are there. The institutional issues of, operating. What I would say for me does exist in Ghana, which I said before, is that many of the institutions which we believe should help us make it easier are not there. They are now coming up. We are now having incubators. We are now having small business agencies. We now have the Ghana Entrepreneurship Agency, which is helping businesses. But they are there. I know a lot of people from the diaspora who came in and didn't ask for anything from anybody and have set up amazing businesses. I know foreigners who came in and they don't even want to deal with the government at all. They just want straight away to go into their business and they sweat it out and build amazing businesses.
Right.
I think that we shouldn't mistake our enthusiasm to be problem-free. As enthusiastic as we are, and for me personally, as happy as I am to see more of the diaspora come to Ghana and do businesses than foreigners, I still recognize the fact that there will be a few barriers here and there.
Yeah.
The thing is how we can work together to open those barriers and facilitate the ease of doing business in Ghana. And government, led by this Ministry of Trade, over the period has tried to improve the ease of doing business, not for foreign companies alone, but for anybody who wants to do business in Ghana. And the president has repeatedly said that we need to work harder into making sure that Ghana becomes the best place to do business in Africa. It's not going to be easy in the face of diminishing returns for government or government not able to meet its revenue targets, but it's possible. And I say the policy orientation today makes it even more possible with a one district, one factory policy where every district should at least have one production facility. Today is one. Tomorrow it may be 10 per district. In the future, 20 per district. We are looking at agriculture, planting for food and jobs, where new extension policies have been putting, new assistance packages have put in such that we are now a net exporter of maize, when we were a net importer of maize not too quite long ago. And then, of course, the government's own initiative under the government Ghana Beyond Aid, which says that we want to use our raw materials and partnerships for linkages and trade, not aid. So all these things tell you that we are in a different trajectory from what used to be in the past. Right. Government has made it very clear that they need to give private sector the push and the necessary support to build our businesses. Some of us have been more aggressive. Some of us think that there is another school of thought that says that see to the bigger businesses first. From your millionaires, create billionaires. When you create billionaires in that market, they would then create another value chain where you can implant the smaller businesses. I am also saying that, well, yes, we can bring in foreign direct investors, but we want to also have them implant domestic supply chains in their businesses, such that we can build up our own local business environment. But all these things are there. They are not easy questions to answer or brush away. We wish that we had an environment which was less risky, more efficient, and that's what government is trying to do with a paperless port to make it more efficient, such that you can bring your goods and clear within the shortest possible time and go and do your business, and remove some of the costs of human agency, if you know what I mean, and make your
right. I think we're having network challenges. Please, audience, bear with us. I'm sure our panelists will come back as quick as they possibly can with the challenges of network. If we can have a quick break and while we await his return with other questions. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. I'm going through the chat room questions, and some of them I'll do my best to ask. We'll be back in a few seconds.
Hello? Oh, my son is Canada dada. And then he left go menu. My son, this is a setup. Who was Spain? Oh yes. Spain was any secret free, huh? A Ghana. Yet we love you. It's 11 and as a member of a baby family. Oh, that be my son. Would you check your phone? Why? It's very easy now to send money from anywhere in Europe to Ghana. I'm in Spain right now, and I just send money to my mom. And on Tiasia, also don't send it, don't take e-levy. No, on tap send, there's no e-levy charge. It's just free when you send. Those in the US, those in London, those in Canada, plenty places in Europe. You can send your money through tap send to Ghana, and please, it's free of charge. There's no deduction in any e-levy or any charge at all. So what are you waiting for? Send the money to those family people. Me must send it. Let's go and take a clan talk. Reggae man of a patch. It's top zen.
Hello.
Thank you very much. I'm told our panelist is back.
Yes, I was. I think I had a bit of a glitch. So
Yeah.
no.
So, you were on. Yes, you were on one point that you didn't quite finish. I'm not sure if you still got that to finish. Otherwise, there's one hand up, and as the first hand, may I ask that that person speaks and give you the Mrs. W. Queno. Mrs. Queno, please. Your hand is up.
Yes, okay. I'm Wilhelmina.
Wilhelmina, okay.
I came into this meeting thinking that you're going to have a few investments that we could invest in. Do you understand? Like maybe there'll be a list of companies that, okay, these are some companies that are looking for investors. And then we can take it from there. So I don't know whether anybody in the panel has got any information of that sort, or maybe at a later time, we'll have another meeting with such information.
I think your question is very important. I think it would be nice to know if there are any companies that could do away with a group of people coming together and almost become shareholders or type of thing. I believe. Yofi, did you get the same understanding as I did? Or?
Yes, I did. But there are loads of companies looking for capital. You know, what has been a difficulty for us is that although we go out looking for foreign direct investment and look for investment in the markets, the difficulty of presenting cases to companies, and I mean, I remember my banking days when we have companies who are looking for capital, and you try to match them up with people with source of capital. There's always difficulty because the expectations are different. But there are serious companies in agriculture, in manufacturing, in fashion, in production, who are all looking for capital. And for us, I mean, if I were to start on that tangent, we probably wouldn't finish this, because I would have 2,000 companies that have approached me and says, look, I need capital for my business. And usually when it's a small business, I would probably refer you to another agency that looks at that. But I mean, what we've done recently at GIPC is we are building what we call an investment roadmap with quite a number of investment opportunities that you may look at and invest in. But I can point you to one place. There is the UNDP GIPP investment roadmap. It's a website. If you go the SDG investment roadmap, it actually catalogs a number of opportunities in Ghana that you can put money in, whether it's in rice farming, whether it's in irrigation, whether it's in fashion. They've done quite a bit of work on that website, and it presents live, opportunities. But for us, the easier way would be if you had money, if you don't want to be a portfolio investor and invest in the stock market where companies are quoted and you can easily go and buy, then you have to tell us, what sector do I want to put my money in? Because there are loads of sectors, and we can't discuss that all in one afternoon. It will probably take a day or two. So, Mrs. Queno, what I would say is, if you want, I mean, you can contact my office, and I'll put my email on the chat box so that you can actually send me an email, and there you can tell us exactly where you want your capital to go, and therefore what assistance you require. But I can tell you that we have sectors, specific sectors where we can show you where you can invest if you have the capital to do that. And
it's not just me, it's everybody wanting. I mean, some people are there who are not even speaking, but might want to have that information. So you send in your email to me and then I do it personally, that's fine. But then what about the others? So maybe we can arrange, it's just a suggestion that we can arrange a time where, the particular meeting would be, because we all know the investment in Ghana, the entrepreneurs, there are opportunities, but then we thought you have solid, like how you said I should go to the UNDP, like you could bring out some information like that, like, sharing your screen and showing us this information so that we can approach them directly or indirectly to find out what we can invest in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kuna. I think what I can do, work with Mr. Yofi Grant to hopefully bring a couple of companies that are looking for investors within the organization. I'm sure Yofi can help us to achieve that. And then host a forum where they will come and talk about their businesses,
Absolutely.
what they do, and why they need people to come on board and, you know, be part of it and all of that at a different forum. But we do get where you're coming from. And it's one forum I will be more than happy to organize if
to facilitate, yes.
Yes, if Yofi is out.
But also bear in mind that to have such a platform could take a whole day.
Yes.
Because we could line up 20 businesses. They won't be able to pitch.
We probably can take 2 or 3 at a time, do a
Right,
presentation, 15, 20-minute presentation, and then hopefully we can carry on as and when we have more people interested to come and showcase their businesses.
Maybe a good way to go about it is to organize it across sectors. So if agriculture, we can give you 3 or 4 people who have approached us.
Exactly.
Normally, they don't approach us for capital because they wouldn't look at themselves as the kind of investor who would come to GIPC. So they would go to the banks, they would go to their families, and small businesses, characteristically, everywhere in the world find it so difficult to raise money.
Yes.
Because they are not tested, they are not tried. And they haven't been able to show the investor that I have a thriving business. If the business is thriving, it's easier to invest in it. But a thriving business very often too does not require capital. They require working capital, loans to operate, not to invest. I mean, just today, I have facilitated one such meeting where a company that is producing water and is going to fruit juice and developing a brewery is looking for investments of about $1.5 million. So I put together 1 or 2 or 3 people to speak to them, you know, and it just happened that, oh, these people are just investors who had some $20,000, $10,000, $5,000. So they didn't meet the mark. And this was above the radar. But it's more difficult, Mrs. Quino, when it's a small company. It's extremely difficult. It's better, like Nana said, we'll bring them to come and pitch their story for the business, because that would be almost beyond my mandate.
Okay. So we will work with the office to see if we can, you know, look at sectors and bring them time, you know, one after the other. I've seen Romeo's hand is up. If Romeo wants to probably make a quick intervention and add to it, or maybe comment.
Yes, I just wanted to, you know, when you take one of the things that we are trying to do, even on the Chango platform, is to link up with SEC, and there's an opportunity that people could take up where people who want to bring together maybe startups and then the investment community and be the link between, to be able to link them up, invest, and then pay dividend back to them. And this is going to be open up. But I mean, these are opportunities that people can look into where you pitch yourself on that. So the platform which already exists becomes a platform that you will be on, linking investors to startups in Ghana to raise funding for them. So this become either debt or maybe equity investment that people can have. So these are some of the opportunities that are coming up, and people can take advantage of it. I mean, currently what we do is more of donation and raising money for projects. I mean, one of the projects that Nana talked about is what we are trying to do with the green project in the Western region and Ashanti region, where we are trying to solve issues of sanitation within villages and things like that. We have avenues that people are also supporting others in Kolebu to help solve the issue of hole in heart. And then, so a number of them, but we've thought about the situation whereby we could use the platform also to raise debts for startups or companies that are willing, are ready to scale and they need some bit of capital. Then we can pull the diaspora community and people in the country to be able to do that. But the opportunity of actually having a company that understands both ends run on the platform to be able to solve this problem also exists. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So if I may come back to you, Yofi, from your analysis, what are the estimates of diaspora contribution so far in the FDIs in Ghana in the past couple of years? Is there a figure you can give us to boost our morale here? Do you think diaspora, I mean, you're muted, sir.
Oh, okay. Sorry, can you ask the question again?
What I was keen to know is, from your estimate and analysis, do you think diaspora contribution, in terms of FDIs in Ghana is going well, and any kind of ideas you can give us to boost us? Do you think we are also
yes, I don't
contributing a
think
lot?
we have. I don't think we are hitting the potential as yet. And for me, if last year the International Office of Migration indicated that $4.8 billion came to the country from inward remittances, most of which was not captured in productive economies, then we are not doing well enough. And that is why at the GIPC, we've set up a Diaspora Investment Desk. And at the government level, government is actually now bringing closure to what they call the Homeland Act, which will spell out the parameters to enable the system, empower the diaspora to locate and do business in Ghana. Side by side would be the diaspora policy, which would then spell out the clear rules and regulations for that to happen. But averagely, over the past 6-7 years, average FDI to Ghana has been about 2.5 billion annually. Right. From foreign direct investments, and from a few countries. Now we are seeing a lot of interest in Ghana and across sectors. And that is why I feel that it's also important to crowd in the diaspora, because it could be quite an important source of capital. I mean, I'll tell you, I just came back from Atlanta, where I met 2 Ghanaians who had startups which they actually, exited and have capital looking to do things in Ghana. Now, one of them has been here twice. He's found his spot and he's getting into it. Another has come in and he's also found his spot and he's working in it. What is difficult to do is to, if you want to be an equity investor, to be, an absent equity investor, because I'll tell you as an investment banker, is a recipe for disaster. Because you need to understand the company, and you must even, be culturally attuned to the company. I have had investors in certain companies who step back because they realized that those investments they did, one of them was in alcohol, and they didn't want alcohol as part of their portfolio, so they had to exit. And I probably blame myself, because I said, oh, maybe this is a situation of inadequate information. And that is why even in stock markets, the advisors are regulated. You just can't get up and give somebody advice to go and invest in the stock market. If he loses money, he can sue you. Yeah. That based on your advice, he invested and he lost money. Right. So it's one that we can have the investors come and present, and then you take that decision. What we can do is to present them to you, and then you take the decision whether it works or not. If I tell you invest in A, B, or C, then it means I'm advising you.
Right. Thank you.
And if I advise you and you don't make money, you can sue me.
Yes.
But I don't want to put myself in that position. Nor do I want to put you in that position.
Yes. So from your own experience on the ground, what has been some of the basic challenges that has been at the bottom line for some people to want to exit when they have already come in?
Sometimes, yes. Exits can be sometimes troublesome, especially in the private equity space, where you don't easily find a secondary market to exit into. But exits also provide investment opportunities for people. So there are startup capital, that goes into a startup company. And then there's growth capital that helps that company grow. But whatever it is, for any investment, I believe that your key decision should be on whether that company has a proof of concept, that the concept that they are selling to you makes money, especially if it's a startup. If it's an already existing company, then you need to understand the numbers and be sure that this is a company that you can track and keep track of. to make sure they just don't take your money as an investment and run away. And that's one of the motivations for governments now thinking that maybe we need to do a diaspora bond, because a lot of the remittances that come in just flitter away on personal use, when it could actually be structurally, engaged to bring returns to those who invest in it.
So there's a question somebody has sent to me directly. Is there criteria for foreigners and Ghanaians? Are they different from each other when it comes to coming to invest in Ghana? Because he's led to believe that you have to either be in partnership with a Ghanaian to be able to do X, Y, and Z.
It's not true.
Right.
It's not true. The laws are such that once you come and register your business in Ghana, you are considered as a Ghanaian company. Right. Now, there are two categories. You can do a JV with a Ghanaian, or you can come in as a foreigner and hold a company 100%. Right. That is there. Except that in our books, we have a certain minimum capital requirement that you need to bring in or prove that you brought in to set up your business. If it's in a JV and you're a foreigner, then you have to demonstrate that you brought in $200,000. It's either goods or is equity capital, investment capital. If you want to set up the country fully foreign owned, then it has to be $500,000. Right. There are quite a number of arguments today that says that we don't need that and is restrictive and all that. But, it's one that we can debate ad nauseum.
I see. Okay. In terms of FDI in areas of tourism, I mean, how does that also work? Because a lot of
I must say that tourism is the sector that has received the least FDI sectorially. But for me, it's the lowest hanging fruit.
Right.
I've seen foreigners come up here and set up beach resorts and little hotels, etc., and they made quite a bit of money.
Right.
So I think the opportunity is there. And beyond the return, the program that evolved from Year of Return has an investment angle, which is creating opportunity for people to invest in the tourism sector. And there are several opportunities, from training hostesses, training people to work in hotels, building small budget hotels, building tour companies, doing transport, cooking, even clothing. Those are opportunities for the tourism sector.
Right. Okay. In absence of other questions, with such a, sterling job, I will probably ask you if you have any closing remarks, so we can conclude our evening.
Oh, my humble appeal to you is that, Ghana is in a different phase than it was before. I think we are much more open than we used to be before. It's without doubt that the impact of the private sector will be felt. And I did say at the very beginning that even as I go around looking for specific investors for specific projects, I think the greatest opportunity will lie with the diaspora, because the diaspora doesn't only bring capital, it brings technology, it brings new ways of doing stuff, and also acts as a cultural bridge. And for me, the best ambassadors of GIPC are Ghanaians in the diaspora. They know the country, they know where they are and who they can bring and work with. And many of the businesses that we've seen that have come from the diaspora is with partnerships with foreigners. We've seen people from the diaspora actually raise their capital offshore, set up their businesses here, and they still work and create new businesses. So what I'll say is, just like 1,000 years ago, you had people like Christopher Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci, David Livingstone, just get on ships and go out there to explore and conquer new worlds. We can do the same today, but today you have information. You know where you want to go to, and you can go to it. And I believe sincerely that the diaspora is and can become a thriving, driving force in Ghana's economic recovery and Ghana's economic development. I am very certain.
Thank you very much. Mr. Romeo, do you have any last words for us to, in your area and sector that you may want to share?
Yes, just to add to what Yofu has said, I mean, there are opportunities, especially when it comes to the tech area, that I think people can take advantage of. I mean, I just want to say that, I mean, even as a company, we've never borrowed. We've built business here in Ghana right from scratch, and it has worked. I mean, people wonder, I mean, they always ask, and we said, look, take your time, study what you want to do, have your niche, and work towards it. Yes, there are difficulties. Yes, there will be frustrations, but that is what entrepreneurs are actually made of. If everything was right, nobody would be an entrepreneur. So whatever you want to do, I think that you can brace yourself and do something in this country. And maybe as a last thought, take advantage of what Chango brings and use that also to manage your funds. I'm here, and it can give you the peace of mind that you require instead of just sending money to people and you don't know what they are using it for. So this is, I hope that from what we have heard from Yofi Grant, it will set our minds at peace in terms of what we can do in this country and help raise this country for our own good and for the future of our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On that note, may I ask you, please, audience, go and support my green project in Ahanta West, Ahanta area. On Chango, log on to Chango. You will see my green project there, looking at sanitation in partnership with IT Consortium. All we want to do is to improve some part of our areas for the betterment of community. We are grateful to the Honorable Yofi Grant for your time this evening on a Friday evening after a long day. You've given us all the information we need. I'll follow up on our commitment to try and assemble some key players so that they can come and explain where they think we can be useful to their businesses. Thank you very much, Romeo, for assisting in many ways. Ghana Union is grateful, and this particular project that brings information to people's doorsteps without your support and IT Consortium, it wouldn't be easier for us. And we've done this for 2 years. I'm grateful. On behalf of the Ghana Union and the Ghanaian community that brings to you live, we are grateful for your time this evening, and we look forward to see you in 2 weeks' time. I'm just about to finish the next topic with the panelists, and please watch out on your phones when the messages come around. We are grateful to Paul and Linda from Access Media for helping put this program as brilliant as it is. Thank you. For those of you in the United Kingdom, I wish you a very good weekend, a good bank holiday weekend. Enjoy the long weekend. I'm sure Ghana had one this Monday, so this is our 10th.
We are going to have another long.
We have another one.
Oh yeah, it's a May Day.
It's a May Day across the world.
It's everywhere. Yes. So all of us have a good weekend. Enjoy your bank holiday weekend, and we will re-meet again in 2 weeks' time. Have a good evening and stay safe. Be blessed. Good night.
Thank you.
Hello? Oh, my son is Canada dada. And then he left go menu. My son, this is a setup that he was Spain. Oh, yes. Spain most any secret free, huh? I call Ghana. Yet we love you. It's 11 and as a me farmer of a baby farm round. Oh, that be my son, would you check your phone? Why? It's very easy now to send money from anywhere in Europe to Ghana. I'm in Spain right now, and I just send money to my mom. And on Tiasia, also, don't send it, don't take e-levy. No, on Tap Send, there's no e-levy charge. It's just free when you send. Those in the US, those in London, those in Canada, plenty places in Europe. You can send your money through Tap Send to Ghana. And please, it's free of charge. There's no deduction in any e-levy or any charge at all. So what are you waiting for? Send the money to those family people. Me must send it. Let's go and take a clan talk. Reggae man of a pack. It's Tap Send.
Araba, there are some people at the door. Go and tell them I have traveled to Russia.
Yes, Daddy.
Where's your father?
My father said I should tell you he has traveled to Russia.
Your father has killed me. I sent him money from America to complete my house for me.
Are all student association contributions?
Even the money from the fundraiser for Kweku surgery.
Oh! too? Don't be a victim. If you're contributing to a project, alumni dues, or any public campaign, Chango is your best choice. Chango keeps track of all donations and gives you the power to know exactly where the money goes. Chango is approved by Bank of Ghana. Call 0270-066-614 or visit changoapp.com for more information.
Uncle, my father is hiding under the bed.
Oh, Araba.
Chango for your groupings and crowdfunding.
At Diaspora Insurance, we understand the importance of dignified send-offs within Ghanaian culture and traditions. We also understand that you want to avoid the double trauma of your family grieving and not having the financial support to cover funeral expenses when you're not around. With our Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, you can now cover yourself or your family in Ghana or abroad. With no medicals required, we'll accept you if you are under 75 years. Visit our website today or call us to complete a simple form in under 5 minutes. With Diaspora Insurance, your peace of mind is guaranteed.